Talk UK, Pro Beez once again, joined by the man himself, half man, half amazing.
I like that. I like that.
Hey, you like the compliments, man. You like the compliments, man.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that. I don't know how I'd use it.
Hey, man. So look, you've obviously, made it up the M1. You're back in Sheffield now, and I kind of think back to a couple of weeks ago when I was in Sheffield pre-lockdown, and we talked about the Kell Brook fight against Crawford. And at the time, you told me you had reservations about the task at hand. What did you make of last night?
Well, I think Kell boxed competitively the first 3 rounds. I thought I was actually like what he did. I thought, yeah, he's sharp, he's on it. My worry was once it got past 6 rounds, the welterweight strength that Kell dominated with at one point in his career wouldn't be there, because I've always thought, Kell, you ain't a welterweight anymore. But Kell got himself into brilliant condition. Kell utilised his jab, a nice solid jab, what we know he's got. If you'd have said to me, like I said before, if you said to me this fight 3 years ago, I said, yeah, and I'd put a big wager on Kell pulling it off. The reason why I doubted this one is because, and again, I've read some stuff where people are coming out with some foolishness just because Kell's not with Sky, or just because Kell's not with Eddie. And I'm thinking, you know what, sometimes people's arguments are so petty and foolish, you just think, sure, think all you want. Now, the rationale behind my thinking was that this was the biggest fight in Kell's career at this moment. So when you're preparing for something so big, you make sure you take every box. I've done that. You don't cut no corners. You make sure you've got the best of everything. Boom, 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 boom. If the best of everything's not there, you can't expect the best of everything results. So in my mind, and it's just my opinion, Kell might think differently, I think Dominic Ingle, once he wasn't involved in the preparation for this fight, and look, these boys haven't fallen out, let's get it right. Once Dominic wasn't involved in the preparation for this fight, I'm worried. Because Dominic is the only man I know that can bring the best out in Kell Brook. Dominic knows what Kell's capable of doing, even though Kell can't see it. Case in point is Kell against Sean Porter. Nobody's beaten Sean Porter how Kell beat Sean Porter. That was about game plan. That was about tactics, warfare, mental warfare. I think Dominic's a very good strategist. I think his involvement in the strategy for this one would have been very obvious and relevant. If you saw when Kell got caught, Crawford had turned southpaw, caught him with a southpaw jab, stroke hook, and he was switching from southpaw to orthodox. Now, this isn't something unheard of, or that's something that Kell wasn't used to, because he's from a gym of switch hitters when you're preparing for this sort of stuff. So this is no biggie, no new. But it's to keep you alert, because if you're boxing unorthodox, then all of a sudden, and all of a sudden you're getting thumped, you think, why am I getting hit so easy? And it's not until you go back to the end of the round, you think, shit, he turned southpaw, right? And what happened with Kell and Crawford? Kell walked in to his southpaw jab. He switched again, boom, switched, southpaw jab. That's how he caught him. And it was right in the temple, caught him clean. So Kell doubled the impact, boom, staggered him on. Now, I don't know how the fight would have rolled on, and I can tell you how I thought it might have rolled on, but I do know that tactics would have played a massive part in that. It wasn't just about getting fit. It wasn't just about turning up. And fighters, elite fighters, understand you've got to have the right tactics to be all shapes and sizes, and it's not one shoe fits all, one size fits all, sorry. So that's just how it is. And I think Kell, good on him, he took a chance. If he'd have pulled it off, he would probably have been in one of the most lucrative positions of any current fighter. you know, he did it on his own. You know, he went out there, he did it without Eddie, without Dominic, without Sky. You know, he did his own thing. He pulled that off. He'd have been in a great position to command, but he didn't. So it's a risk. It's a risk you take.
What do you think Kell Brook could have done different in the fight to get success from what you saw?
Have Dominic Ingle in the corner.
Wow, just that simple.
That simple.
Yeah, because you remember you did have a lot of reservations. You said, look, he really needs that man in his corner for this fight.
He does. Listen, Dominic knows Kell. He knows his behaviour. He knows his behaviour pattern. He knows when Kell doesn't want to do. You can't ask Kell to do something. You got to tell Kell you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. There's no negotiation. Dominic is arrogant enough and pig-headed enough to say it's my way or no way. So Dominic's like Marmite. I love Dominic because Dominic takes no shit, because he's seen it happen with his dad, with when his dad fell in love with fighters, or when promoters talked to his dad like shit. And Brendan was very good at playing the fool to catch the wise and manipulate his system through. When Dominic and John Ingle are seeing this happen with his dad, they're saying, no, fuck this. We're not having that. So that's why Dominic's completely chalked compared to Brendan being the cheese. But when it comes out to the nitty-gritty, gets the job done. So Dominic takes no shit because he thinks, I'm not wasting my time with time wasters. So this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it. If you don't want to dance my dance, come out, because I know my dance works. I don't know about your dance. And that's how it works. So when people come across Dominic, they don't know how to they don't get him. They don't get his attitude. You don't have, Frank Warren once said to me, you don't have to like everybody you work with. It's business. And I think for the kind of fighter Kell is, the kind of fighter I was towards the back end of my career, the kind of fighters I've seen him work with, like Billy Joe, people like that, Dominic Ingle is a perfect taskmaster you need in hand. I compare it to, I ride horses. So when you ride a horse and you're going over a jump, how you prep that horse and take care of that horse, you can either be its friend, pet it, stroke it, comb its hair, take care, and the horse thinks it's your friend and everything. So when he wants to go over a jump, the horse is thinking, I don't feel like this. Or you can be its master, still take care of your horse, but say, this is what we're doing. So the horse is thinking, this is what I've got to do. This isn't up for negotiation. You know what I mean? And that's why that's how Dominic is with his fighters. This is what we've got to do. This is not for negotiation. I have a proven track record of my method works. And he can adapt and adapt and adapt. Let me tell you a story. And this is to give Dominic his dues, which he probably won't get and people don't get. I remember I used to work on the door of a hotel, the Grosvenor Hotel in Sheffield, and Dominic used to work with me. Dominic Ingle's had a few amateur fights, but people think, what has he done? They think Dominic's full of shit. Dominic ain't full of shit. So we're working on the door, and it was when the World Snooker was on, and all the snooker players used to be in the hotel after the snooker at Crucible Theatre, and the bar would stay open. So everybody wanted to get into this hotel last thing at night, where everywhere else was closed. So our job is to let people out but not let them in after a certain time, especially when the snooker's on. One night there was 5 guys rocked up, and I mean they were big guys. They're saying, let us in, they're kicking the door. It's a glass door. I'm like, shit, you're thinking, oh God, I can do without this. So Dominic says, listen, I'll have them 3. You have them 2. I'm bigger than Dominic. And I looked at him like, don't listen. No, we don't have to deal with it like that. He said, no, I'll have them 3. So when we got, they're going to rush it. When they're going to rush the door, I said, so Dominic's picking the biggest 3. I'm like, Dom, yo, we don't have to do that. I'm not going to know that. I'm the fighter, but I'm trying to negotiate, yo. Dominic's on it. And I thought, and he's not full of shit, because as soon as we opened the door, the first thing he did when these men are trying to cause grief, Dominic run out, bam, to the biggest one of them. And every one of them just backed off, and I thought, shit. And from that day on, I knew he could back up his shit. From that day on, whenever he was in my corner and we were working together, if he said do something, I did it. Because I thought, You wouldn't say it if you couldn't see it. It was, and that's why I think with him and Kell or other fighters like that, like Billy Joe, people like that, he knows how to deal with. You don't have to like him, you don't have to love him, but the man gets his shit done. And I actually think when I heard Kell had left him, I'm thinking, Kell, man, what are you doing? Now these guys haven't fallen out. Kell made a decision for his business. Boxing's his business. I think he made the wrong decision. I think he did a great job with what he did. He looked in great condition and everything. I think, and we can all guess and surmise how the fight would have gone. I will stick to my guns and say, if Dominic was with him, even if he'd have got stopped, it might have been later. If Dominic was with him, I don't know what tactics Dominic would have told him. I just think you've got to give yourself every favour when you go into a fight, and you make sure you've got the best of the best. And Kell didn't. Kell's my boy, so I ain't slagging him off. What I'm saying is, you ask me my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. I just think Kell, in such a big fight, you'd have ticked every single box. And I think in years to come, Kell will look back and think, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. In years to come, now he might not see it. In years to come, he will.
There can be an argument that you should never tamper with the formula that's brought you success. Is that a fair thing to say?
Without a doubt. And that to me why it begs belief. I'm like, Kell, you saw what happened when you left. You tried to do this shit on your own, and you got, and your performance wasn't the greatest. Then you went back, boom, you're back on it again. You did it again, come back, boom, you're back on it again. That's trying to tell you something. But okay, from Kell's point of view, is this: sometimes when you go into training camp and you know what to expect, it's dread, it's hard. You're thinking, shit, you don't want this. It's horrible. You love the results, you love the end product. You think, yes, I'm going to always do this. But once you understand the journey you've got to go through to get to that end product, you think, well, I don't really want to have to do that again. Yeah, maybe I'll pick an easier option. Kell always knew that preparing for this with Dominic was going to be hell on earth. Any fighter that works with Dominic knows preparing with him, it's going to be hell on earth.
I've seen him. I've seen him in the Ingle gym. I've seen him train. I know that he's a hard task master.
It's
no stone unturned.
And that's what. And he doesn't rinse you. He makes you do shit he knows you can do. And so I'll always rate Dom. And this was the biggest alarm bell that rang for me when Kell, when it was announced Kell was fighting Crawford. And I thought, oh, come on, Kell, man. And then even the day before the fight, Dom rooting for him, post everywhere. Good luck, Kell. Get on it, man. And that's why I just thought, you know what, that's class. That's proper class, that is. And listen, I would create the same argument for Dylan White and Mark Tibbs.
Mark Tibbs, the formula.
Yeah, I would have the same argument, regardless of what's gone on with them personally. I would have the same argument, but it's just, this is my opinion. But when people are getting foolish and coming out with their silly conspiracy theories because he's not with Sky or because he's not with Eddie, I think, you know what? That's when I think, excuse my French, stop talking bollocks. I just thought, come on, people. Whoa, what are you looking at? What have I said that's wrong? And so that's just how it is.
One thing I do know about Dominic Ingle is he watches fights for strategy. We saw Crawford struggle against Kowalskis in his last fight. Yeah. And I'm sure Dominic Ingle, to be fair, would have looked at bits of that and said, you know what, this is how we're going to approach this fight also.
Yes, I'm telling you, this guy is, and I don't see what you see, but until I've seen it. I see it. I never envisaged Kell fighting Sean Porter the way he did. I'm like, what are you doing? But you had to fight fire with fire. And that if anybody's got a talent of seeing stuff like that, Dominic has. And remember, I don't benefit from this. I don't boss for Dominic anymore. He don't get paid from me. I don't get paid from him. I'm telling you, I just tell you what I see. And I've seen the fighters that are working with and around him. And I've seen how he works with them and how he has to be with them. And I understand why he's the way he is. And so I just think when we realised this was a situation when I realised this was a situation with Kell going into the Crawford fight, I thought, bad move. Bad move.
Yeah, there are actually some people out there that believe in the theory that Kell knew he had no chance going out there.
No,
that cash out.
Yeah, and I know you're saying that. When you're saying people, you're saying Carl Froch, because Carl Froch publicly said he's cashing out. And I can understand why Carl said that. I don't agree with him because Kell went in there thinking, I pull this off. No, I pull this off. It's a masterstroke. Why would he say he's cashed out? What should he do? Not take the fight? Because Carl knows he's been a world champion. So if he'd have lost his title and then there was an option to box for it again or take an easier option, certain fighters have pride to say, no, I'm used to being at the top, so I'm going for the top. Kell had no, of course he's going to take it. And of course, these theories will be said, you're cashing out. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. I love Carl. Carl's a cool guy, but he dropped the ball on that one.
The other side of things, is there anything wrong with cashing out? Because if you have been a world champion before, you're at the end of your career, it's a pandemic, we don't know what's ahead of us. What's wrong with it? Some people might say.
I understand what you're saying, right? So I understand what you're saying. That there's two ways of looking at this. You look at Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. That's a cash out. These boys are getting ridiculous money to fight again, and I know for a fact it's going to be hard for them because they're not the fighters they were when they were 22 years old. But they've got a chance to make some dough. So it's more dough than show for that. When you're talking about an active fighter that's reached the highest of the high. And I don't mean a journeyman. I don't mean men that just want to be a British champion or European champion or Commonwealth champion. The ones that have reached the highest of the high. Once you've tasted that kind of success and you really believe you're the best in the world, nothing less will satisfy you. So nothing less will do. So you think, no, I belong there. That's where I belong. You're not going to carry on competing at Sunday League level because your pride. Your cojones will say, no, man, I'm bigger than this. If I'm not there, I'm out of this. I can't see Kell operating about a domestic level. Now he's lost to Crawford. Oh, I'll just be British champion. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. And so it's not cashing out. It's like, I belong there. Really, even if he doesn't belong there, he believes he does. So no, I belong there. That's me. You know, and that's the pride of a fighter. Journeymen, their pride, they get in there, they're going to test somebody coming through. They don't care if they win or lose. They're just getting paid. That's cashing out. They just make it's business to them. But you've got certain fighters, and I spot these journeymen, but you've got certain fighters that once you've reached a certain high, anything less is not enough. It just isn't. And it's hard for people to understand or get where I'm coming from. But it's just an unwritten rule. You just don't do it.
There are still some big fights, available to Kell Brook that potentially might, that could happen. You still got Keith Thurman there, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter again. People would watch that fight.
Okay, so in my head, I'm thinking this: if at welterweight, Kell decides to stay at welterweight and he can't beat the world champion, what's his aim? What's his dream? What's his ambition? Because maybe I'm speaking out of term. This is how I look at it. I think if I can't be the best at my division again, and I box everybody else, I'm not going to box you because you can beat me. It's taking away my drive. It's taking away my thirst. It's taking away my engine. If he steps up a weight, then I can understand him, trying to find another way to be a world champion at a different weight, and the excuses, this is my way, I feel better at it. But I just think when you've reached certain heights, when you've achieved certain things, you can kid yourself and say, yeah, I'll box on, I'll just box these men there. But you just think, I'm not the best. Not I can be the best. I can't beat the best. So therefore, you think, well, what am I doing here?
And I suppose when you look what's ahead of you in another weight class, you know, you've got Jamel Charlo, who's an absolute savage in the ring. Texera, people say there's an opening there, but the unified Don in Charlo, maybe again, that
Everybody's
might close the
beatable.
door.
Yeah, everybody's beatable, but is it too big, too strong, too far? We don't know. But this is down to Kell. This is Kell's decision on where he thinks he stands now in the boxing landscape, and it's up to him. Of quite clearly, you know, instinctively, people are going to say, "Yeah, that's him done now." Kell's got to do what he works for him. He's got to do some soul searching. He's got to grieve. He's got to think about where he wants to be. He's got to think to himself, am I still motivated to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning? Because I'm a wealthy man. You know, I think I've reached my peak now. You know, and my star's falling. And there's a lot of factors. It's not just about what we see on TV when they get in the ring. It's all the build up to it and everything around it that makes a fighter, makes a champion, and makes a difference.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fans probably, well, should I say some of the fans won't want to see, you know, when Mike Tyson fought on too long and he had, you know, Daddy Windows beat him and he fought Julius Francis, etc. That might be a bit too long, you know.
That's what I'm saying, and that's where people forget how great you were. I'll give you Evander Holyfield as an example. And sometimes the same fight, I'm thinking, Vander, man, these kids don't know how good you was. You know what I mean? Don't do that. And so it's going on too long. And so it's just these are decisions. It's not up to you and I to write a man off and say, yo, done. It's up to that man to say, okay, then I'm in this. You've got to understand. You've got to think to yourself, like, this is why I'll carry on, or this is why I'll jack in.
Because we saw Bernard Hopkins when he got knocked out the ring by Joseph Jr.
Yeah.
Again, just that memory itself, you know, it hasn't affected him, you know, in terms of his legacy, but there's a memory of that. Him going out the ring.
You're forgetting when he matted up Trinidad and people like that or whatever. You're forgetting when he got him with that. You're forgetting these things. You remember the bad back end, and so it's just this is going to be the difference between elite fighters that have been elite and fighters that are cashing out.
Just to conclude, Terence Crawford, we've got to talk about the man himself. Now, I said to a few other people that live in the flesh, technically for me, that's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Like, technically in the flesh.
At this moment, yeah. Now, everybody's beatable. And I'll tell you, the first couple of rounds when I saw him with Kell, I thought, Kell's doing all right here, man. This guy's like, he's not that unbeatable. Then he's switching. I'm thinking, Ross, I thought only we could do that in Weaker Bank. And he's doing it comfortable. I'm like, all right, there's a lot more tools in this box. He's good. He's good because he stepped it up, turned it around, stepped it up. He managed to play our game on somebody, a switch hitting game on somebody from our gym. That's what we brought up. That's what we're fed on. He managed to play that on Kell and pull it off. And to me, I just think, yeah, there's not many people that can do that. You can see it, but doing it's a lot harder. And so you talk Crawford and Spence. Spence is fighting Garcia, so we'll see what the outcome of that is. I think Crawford will beat Spence. I think when I saw Spence box Kell run out of juice. Yeah, right. Kell was on top. He run out of juice after 6 rounds, and that showed that to me. I said, you ain't a welterweight, because it's the first time I see you bullied in the ring physically. So that told me he shouldn't be there, and I thought that 2 years before. So it was more on Kell's demise than Spence's rise. So you look at Spence, you look at Crawford. I'm going Crawford. I think Crawford has the tools to do it, and he has the variety.
Wow, Johnny, it's been a pleasure once more. From
Anytime.
London to Sheffield,
Yeah.
Johnny
God's
Nelson.
country. God's country.
Meadowhall, baby, Meadowhall.
You see, sure enough now, you know, Sheffield. All right, then, bless. You take
All right,
care.
thanks, Johnny. Pep Talk,
No
subscribe,
problem.
Johnny Nelson.
Bless you.
Thank you.